When the topic of best modern roguelikes pops up, it's not an uncommon sight to see Risk of Rain 2 mentioned near the top of the list, and it's not hard to see why either. It's a simple gameplay premise, there's plenty of variety in how you can play, and the level of growth your character receives is exponential as you go on. Although, some could consider another reason why the game is so good to be how easy it is to mod the game. Through R2 Mod Manager and Thunderstorm, it only takes a couple clicks to get user-generated content into your game and see what other people think of adding to Petrichor 5. At the time of recording, there are 3,384 mods on Thunderstorm for Risk of Rain 2. However, I'd like to make a case for 10 of those today. 10 of those that hopefully you will add to your load order permanently, but at the very least you'll have on there temporarily to check out. Starting off with a pretty small mod, this is Lunar Construct by HIFU. This mod simply adds an alpha construct variant into the enemy pool's commencement, and while it is for all intents and purposes an alpha construct, it still adds some enemy variety commencement so you're not just all-time fighting chimeras, and this definitely seems like something that Mythworks would build as well. Our next mod, also by HIFU, is Stage Aesthetic. This mod simply adds visual variants to most of the stages in the game. These aesthetics can range from a simple time of day change, to a weather change, to the stage seeming to take place in a whole different location than its default self. Some of my favorite examples include a really dusty reskin for Sky Meadow, a very warm and followed out version of Raleigh Point Delta, and a skin for Distant Roofs that makes it appear like abyssal depths, very red and hunks of gold all over the place. It's all very neat. And the best part, it is configurable in R2 Mod Manager in case you would like to remove stage variations from appearing during a run, just in case you don't really like the aesthetic style or feel it just clashes too much with what you think the stage should be. Although with how many variations this mod adds to the various stages of the game, I feel that most of the maps are going to be left on, as this mod really helps spice up runs so that way you're not looking at the same titanic plains or sulfur pools or even commencement as you make runs through the game. Up next is a mod called Slut, which is a work-in-progress variety mod that adds just a little bit of everything to heighten up your Risk of Rain 2 experience. This mod adds a few new items in various tiers. It adds a new unique enemy variant that can spawn from War Banner, which I feel is a really interesting change that really makes it a must-kill target when you see it. And most notably, it adds a new playable character called the Ranger. The Ranger is pretty unique in that it can switch between a low damage, low risk playstyle and a high risk but more susceptible to damage over time playstyle. Kind of think of it as Void Fiend but more controllable. That's about all the mod has to offer right now, as it's still a work in progress, but I feel they've executed things in the mod so far very well, and I would love to see what they add in the future. When Risk of Rain Returns came out last year, it gave many such as myself a chance to finally experience the game back at its roots. This return to form came with many items that did not find their way into Risk of Rain 2, either because they were not added during the Risk of Rain 2 dev time, or because they're unique to Risk of Rain Returns. This next mod, Classic Item Returns, alleviates that void by adding some items from Risk of Rain Returns into Risk of Rain 2. Many, such as Snake Eyes, Arms Race, Wicked Ring, Jar of Souls, and many more, have been added to Risk of Rain 2 and are all implemented very, very well. Most of them currently have models for item pickup, but there are still a couple that are still getting worked on currently. The Risk of Rain Returns version of Tough Times is even added in, although it does not overwrite the Risk of Rain 2 version of Tough Times, instead adding it as a green item. This may be one of the most seamlessly added and canon-friendly item packs added to the game so far, and I could not recommend it enough if you need some extra items to spice up your runs. While this next choice is subjective, I still highly recommend it. Lesser Wisp reworked by Rob Gaming simply turns the hitscan attack from Lesser Wisp into a more easily dodgeable projectile. Some may prefer the default Wisp attack, but I just feel that having a more easily dodgeable projectile can really help survivability during those Eclipse runs. Speaking of enemies, this next mod adds an old foe to help freshen up your encounters. Clayman by Mothane adds in the old foe from Risk of Rain and Risk of Rain Returns into Risk of Rain 2 in Glorious 3D. He behaves about the same in 3D as he did in 2D, just mainly attacking with his sword. Do not overlook his simplicity, however, as he can still pack a wall in groups and especially as elites. Claymen can spawn on maps where clay enemies such as Templars usually spawn, such as Abandoned Aqueduct and Scorched Acres. Do you want more variety in your void drops rather than getting safer spaces and needle tick all the time? Well, you might be interested in Vanilla Void. This mod adds void variants for a couple of vanilla items from the game, and I feel that they're all implemented pretty well with some creative ideas. 10 items all get new void forms, such as Delicate Watch, Shipping Request Form, and Old Guillotine, just to name a few. Additionally, the mod has a couple extra tweaks related to the void as well. There is now an exit from the void locus in case you don't want to go to the planetarium, and there is a new interactable that appears in Void Infestations that if you pay a Void item to it, you can enter the Void fields without having to go to the Bazaar Beyond Time. I feel it goes without saying, but Survivors of the Void is required to use this content. All in all, this is a great supplemental piece related to Survivors of the Void, and I highly recommend it if you like using Void items or otherwise just playing the game. Speaking of the Void, Void Fog Nerf is another great mod I recommend. This mod simply recalculates the damage you take while you're inside Void Fog, and enables damage reduction from items such as Repulsion Armor Plate. I consider this mod to be a simple necessity, as it allows greater survivability in the Void fields in the Planetarium, especially if your character is either slow or kinda spongy. Bringing another Risk of Rain classic from 2D to 3D, this time we have the Enforcer. The best riot cop in the whole system is back, better than ever, and fully functional. All his skills return, as well as a handful of new skills to unlock and try out to vary up your playstyle with him. This mod did come out before Risk of Rain Returns did though, so don't expect any overlap between the two there. Besides his mechanics, he has plenty of polish in other departments as well. He has numerous unlockable skins for you to find, ranging from cool to absurd. He even has his own set of emotes you can toggle for the number keys. So if you're a fan of the first game, the remake, or just want a big guy that can take a lot of punishment, then hey, try out the Enforcer. For the last and biggest mod I have in this video today, we have Starstorm 2. The original Starstorm was a mod for Risk of Rain that added a dizzying amount of content, and this mod achieves a similar feat. It's still a work in progress as it does not add nearly the amount of content that Starstorm adds to the original Risk of Rain, but there is a large variety of things added here. Currently there are 4 new playable characters: the Executioner, the Chur, as well as the Nemesis Commando and the Nemesis Mercenary. The Nemesis Commandos are unique takes on the base characters that add new skills, mechanics, and aesthetics to them. Besides the new characters, there are also new enemies, new stage effects, new items, and new artifacts to put on your run. As a bonus compatibility, if you have the Enforcer mod on, then you will also have the Nemesis Enforcer you can fight and play as. The mod is still relatively in its infancy right now, but as time goes on, there's going to be more and more added that's going to add more and more replayability to the game. If you're playing modded Risk of Rain 2, I cannot recommend going without this mod. This small showcase here only barely scratches the surface on the varying amount of mods available for Risk of Rain 2. Honestly, while I was gathering footage for this video, I came across so many other cool mods that definitely deserve to be shout out and showcased here. But I want to keep it 10 mods to both not overwhelm myself with work and not overwhelm you, the viewer, with all the data and particle effects and so on and so forth. Honestly, I may be doing a part 2 in the future because there's so many mods still out there that I really want to delve into and show off. This game legitimately is one of my favorite roguelikes and one of my go-to games to de-stress after a long day at work or just a long day with other bullshit in life in general. The aesthetic of the game, the vibe of the game, and definitely the music of the game makes this something I can always come back to no matter what. And mods definitely help keep that replayability going too by it. I can always just come in and just find new content to play with. I don't have to keep expecting the same thing over and over again. I can reliably just pop in and hey, here's something I haven't seen before. Hey, here's a new effect I haven't seen before. You know, it's a really refreshing take, and that's why I like modding a lot too. Sometimes we, the players, have really good ideas for stuff, and not saying that devs don't have good ideas. Of course they have good ideas too, but sometimes someone just adds something to the game, and you're like, whoa, why was that in there before? That's really incredible and really fits in well with playstyles and builds and all that. But I digress. Thank you for watching my video. I would definitely love to come back to Wisp of Rain 2 for more content in the future, especially after Secrets of the Storm releases. I would definitely like to see what Gearbox is cooking up for continuing the game. I like the Verdant Falls map. I think it's really nice. So I'd like to see where they take the rest of the expansion from there and see what new classes we get or what new enemies or, you know, so on and so forth. Anyway, that's all, folks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again on my channel soon, hopefully. Bye-bye!